So I'm sad to say that the lawn care little guy is giving up on lawn care. I got fired this week for the second time this year, and it's quite a story, so stick around and I'll tell it to you. So what happened, right? Well, this year has been overwhelming. The rain has been kicking my butt. Been having trouble keeping up. Trying to do it by myself. And I think quality has gone down. I think quality has gone down. And that's the reason why I got fired, was because I got this text, and I won't read it word for word, but I'll kind of work this story backwards. The other day, I actually hired somebody, and this person had experience in lawn care, and it was a good pick. I needed some help to stay caught up and get everybody taken care of, and my schedule was just completely blown out the window. So I was like, yay, experienced guy, I'll do that. So we were knocking lawns out. I did a whole bunch throughout the day, and then he joined me about 3:30, and I thought we'd be able to knock out a number of lawns, and we did do 6 lawns. And we were on a property, and I looked at the lawn, and I did notice that he mows differently than I do. But sometimes it's just different when you have a new guy. People just aren't going to do things the way you want to do them, and when you got just a kind of a temporary help, you don't nitpick them. They're kind of doing you a favor. I mean, you are paying them, and I get that, but are you really going to spend all the time to sit there and train them to the exact detail of how you would do a job? And I think for most of us, the answer is no to that, because you're only going to have them for a day or half a day or whatever. So, you kind of have that in a balance, right? On, making them do things the way you would do them, and then just having them do what they do, and, kind of check on them so that it's satisfactory for the customer. Well, one particular customer had contacted me and told me that it looked like a 10-year-old cut the lawn. And that kind of hurt my feelings. I didn't mow it. It was my help that mowed it, and I know it was different. Apologize for that alarm going off. Got someone in the parking lot, but anyways. And but it was just different, right? And we were behind, and it's probably my fault. I probably should have made him go back and redo some stuff, or maybe could have done a little bit more touch up or whatnot. But in the end, I did look at the job. I was not as critical as I probably should have been, and the customer called me out on it, and they said they had already bought a mower and that they were going to fix it themselves before giving me an opportunity to. And then she goes on to say that that my quality has not been what it has been in the past for the past 3 months. And this is a weekly customer. It's a subscriber as well, so this account is particularly valuable to me. And I like, for the past 3 months. So I've mowed your yard 12 times, and I never heard that you were dissatisfied. And I feel like I'm doing the same job I always do, in which you've always communicated that you've been satisfied. And then just last week, the husband actually recommended me to someone else. So by all measures, I'm not going to say, hey, every time the job's done, hey, are you okay? Is that good? Is that good? Did I do a good job? I need, I like verbal affirmation, but I just don't require it, and I think it's unnecessary all the time, So generally speaking, you can kind of tell if your quality's gone down, and I won't say that I've done a perfect job every single time, but nonetheless, I mean, you let 3 months go by and didn't bring this up to me, so I'm kind of offended by that, but I'm okay. I get it. Not everybody's gonna tell you. They just expect you to know. It's like relationships, right? When a husband or wife, they're mad at one or the other, and they're like, what did I do? And they're like, oh, you know. Don't act like you don't know. You should know. You know, I feel like that's the way it is in lawn care too, you know. Like we should just know, you know, we're responsible. The burden of quality and the burden of consistency is on the owner, is on the company. Okay, it's not on the customer to call you out on that. So I don't really blame her for that, but at the same time, I really wish that she would have, you know, if she was dissatisfied for that long, I wish she would have brought it up to me, you know, but she didn't. I've been using a zero turn on her yard, and she brought that up, that she doesn't like the way it cuts. Um, it's always cut pretty even to me. Of course, smaller mowers are going to have better cut qualities, but her lawn, I didn't, you know, if it didn't look good, then I wouldn't have used it. I have a couple lawns that are like that. They just don't look good with certain mowers, and I don't mow them that way. So if I knew that she was dissatisfied with that, then I wouldn't have mowed the lawn with the zero turn. But she never brought that up. I think everything's cool, so everything kind of comes to a head yesterday, and she fires me. So, giving up lawn care. No, I'm not. I am not giving up lawn care, y'all. Okay, I am very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in the way this account went. But I am not giving up lawn care, yo. Not doing it. Not because one person fires me and you know, they might have had a leg to stand on. I'm not letting that get me down. I am not going to let that get me down. I'm not going to let that discourage me. I'm going to let it make me better. That's what I'm going to do. So they've already bought the mower. So what am I going to do? What's the little lawn care little guy going to do about this, right? Well, first thing, I'm going to stay encouraged. Number one thing, I'm staying encouraged no matter what. No matter what. Number two thing, I am going to throw a little subtle hints out there, and I'm going to kind of take the temperature of all my customers, because I need to know, is this just like one little thing, or has my quality really gone down? I have been overwhelmed. It makes sense, right? You get a little faster, you start taking too much work, and the quality would go down. It stands to reason. I'm willing to accept that, and I want to take the temperature of all my customers and see how satisfied they are, and I'm going to make changes. I'm just going to do it real subtle. I'm just going to do it real subtle, okay? So that's the second thing that I'm going to do. The third thing I'm going to do, which I've actually already done it, is I've already provided services for this month, and they're a subscriber, okay? They pay on the 24th of the month. So I told them, I says, don't worry about that invoice. Well, I looked at my email. They had already paid the invoice. So what did I do? I refunded it. You say, well, you've done the work. You should get paid. Yes, that's true. But have you ever had service, really bad service? Let's just say that my service was really bad, right? Okay. I deserve to get fired. I'll accept that. Customer's always right. I'm good with that. Have you ever had really bad service, but then you could tell that that business was working really hard to make it right with you? Even though they knew they weren't going to get you back, they still wanted the last impression that you have, the last contact you have with them, to be the best. That's what I'm going for, because they're my neighbor. I primarily work in my neighborhood. It's not like I'm looking to leave my neighborhood and like, oh, well, you know, I got tens of other lawns lined up to take your place. I'm not taking that stance. I do not want a bad review. I do not want the word to get around that Lawn Care Little Guy not only does a crappy job, but that the Lawn Care Little Guy doesn't care about the person. He won't take care of them. So I refunded that money. I refunded that money to that gal. And then you know what else I'm going to do? You know what else I'm going to do? At the end of the year, just like I would have done with any other customer, I'm going to give her a gift. I'm going to send them a gift card. That's what I'm going to do. Thanking them, because they've been my customer for, I think, 3 years now, okay? 3 years now. I'm going to send them a gift card thanking them for allowing me to work for them for so long and for their faithfulness. Call it guilt? I don't know. That's on them. What I'm interested in is that the last thing that they want, the last thing that they feel from me is that I care about them, okay? Regardless of why I got fired, all right? And I'm willing to admit it. I probably could have done it better. I'm not making that mistake again, and I'm going to make it right with this customer. So, did I kind of trick you guys in this video? Lawn Care Little Guy giving it up? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I apologize for that. I'm sorry for taking you through that roller coaster of emotions with me. But that's kind of how I'm feeling, honestly. That's how I felt when I got that text talking about how my business mowed their lawn like a frickin' 10-year-old. No offense to the 10-year-olds. No offense to the 10-year-olds, but that was not meant to be a positive thing for me. And I didn't take it positively. It hurt me, okay? And I had to process that. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, everybody feels this way about me. That's not true. That is not true. Okay? So if you're listening, if you're watching this video and you're like me, you're a solo guy, I bet you if you're a big guy, you felt like this before. You know, so I think everybody in the lawn care industry can relate with this. But that's not who I am. That's not who my business is. And I have no doubt that I could have done things better, but I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to use it to make me better. This is what Scripture says. I was reading in my quiet time, and I look for that for encouragement. And this is what it says. God works all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And I believe that. I didn't expect this. They were a good and faithful customer, and for whatever reason, things happen the way they happen, but God's going to work this for my good. He's going to work it for my good, and in the end, either I'm going to get them back, and our relationship is going to be even stronger than it was before, or I'm not going to get them back, and it's going to open me up for an opportunity that God has already planned for me. I got faith in that. So be encouraged, guys. Don't let getting fired get you down. Just recognize where you could have done things better, or maybe where you couldn't have done things better. But either which way, be better because of it, okay? So I love you guys. Pray for me, all right? I'll pray for you, and peace.